I have 3 adult daughters. They're all 2 years apart. And when they were little, I was a super young mom, and I remember feeling frustrated and discouraged and like I didn't really know what I was doing sometimes. But once in a while, I would realize that it was really quiet. And so I would sneak down the hall and peek in the door to see what was going on. And if they were playing peacefully, I would just slowly back away. And then eventually something would happen, a ruckus would break out, and there were cries or shouts, and I would run to the rescue, and lessons would be taught and corrections would be made. Does that sound familiar? So many of us grew up this way, where when we did something we shouldn't, a spotlight was shined on it, and we were told what we did wrong and what we should do better. But when we were being good and doing things that were positive, we were pretty much left to ourselves. Unfortunately, many of us have carried that behavior into adulthood, where we really beat ourselves up or shine a spotlight on our poor behavior, our so-called poor behavior. If we eat too much or indulge in too much sugar or perhaps too much alcohol or even cigarettes, we beat ourselves up and we feel bad about ourselves and we criticize ourselves. Well, your mind is conditioned to really pay attention on anything that you place a strong emotion on, whether that's a negative emotion like guilt or a positive emotion and a little celebration. So every time you feel guilty about and beat yourself up over unwanted behavior, it actually makes you more likely to repeat it. So today's little tip is to help you start to shine a spotlight on positive behavior, those things that tend to go unnoticed and unacknowledged, because every time you acknowledge and appreciate and even celebrate your good choices, even if they're really tiny, it shines a spotlight for your subconscious mind that says, do more of this, because your mind automatically wants to recreate what you celebrate. So I got this idea from my friend Cara Dwindeller, who talks a lot about using little tools to stop anxiety. And she put out a newsletter recently about a joy jar, and I loved it so much. So I went and got this super fancy jar out of my pantry. Sometimes I think we wait to do something like this until we have this fancy, beautiful jar and have everything just right. But I think imperfect action is so much better than inaction. Don't you agree? So every night when you're about to go to bed, I want you to think about all the things you did right during the day, all the good choices you made. If it's in the context of your relationship with food, it could be as simple as having paid attention to the way the food felt in your mouth as you chewed it. Really savoring that food, no matter what it was, and noticing it going down into your stomach. Because that is a habit that naturally thin people do. And when you start to listen to your body when you eat, it helps you easily release excess weight and tune into your body instead of eating out of emotional reasons or mindless snacking or things like that. So when you go to bed at night, if you paid attention to even one bite as you were eating, then put a little, this is a little pink puffy cotton ball into the jar. You can use any object. You could use pebbles or pennies. Just make it simple. If you noticed yourself leaving a couple extra bites of food on your plate when you noticed you were satisfied, put one in the jar. If you noticed yourself thinking about mindlessly snacking and then chose to not, then put one in the jar. Think of all the things you did right during the day, and you get extra points for thinking of the teeny tiniest things, because every time you shine a spotlight and celebrate your little victories, your little successes, it makes it easy for your brain to start to actually physically create a new neural pathway that strengthens that habit of making the good decision. Till before you know it, you are, without even noticing it, paying attention to every bite you eat, tuning into your body when you eat instead of tuning into your emotions. So if you were the kind of person that used to eat because you were bored or lonely or stressed, now you're going to start to realize that you only eat in response to true physical hunger. I'm Lori Hammond, and if you enjoyed this tip, I would love for you to share it and to follow me wherever you're watching this video. If you have anything you'd like me to address in these daily videos, get in touch with me wherever you're watching this video, and I would love to make one just for you. Have an amazing day.